Oh, they're on the front.
What's that?
Yes, we did, yeah.
You're live.
Thank you.
I did.
While we're waiting on everyone else to come in, I do want to apologize for having you guys sit here for 40 minutes, but we had a joint meeting with EDC, and it obviously ran long. That was me, sorry. So I do apologize. We do appreciate everyone's time for being here, and we'll try to be as most efficient as we can when we do get started to try to make up some time for you guys. But we certainly appreciate your patience and really apologize for running so late this evening. As soon as we get Councilmember Schaffner hooked up, I guess we already have a quorum, we can go ahead and get started. Yeah, I can go ahead and start. Is there... Okay. Is everyone here?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We got that.
You're live.
Okay. I'd like to call to order our town council meeting at 7:42, March 23rd, 2021. We do have a quorum present. Councilmember Gerasi is absent, and Councilmember Schaffner will be on Skype any minute now. Is Pastor Barry Klingon still here? Thank you, sir, for being here from the Church at Trophy Lakes for our invocation. While he makes his way to the podium, I'd like to ask that we do keep the two recent tragedies in Atlanta and Boulder at the forefront of our thoughts and prayers. That is the reason why our flags have been flown at half-staff, as you may have noticed. Please stand.
The ancient Psalms tell us, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations." Father, this is a day you have made, and we set our will to rejoice and be glad in it. You declare that you will honor those who honor you. And so, Lord, we stop for a moment as a town before our important business, and we honor you as the creator of all, and as the one who gives every good and perfect gift from above down. Lord, I want to pray first and foremost today for our mayor, that, Lord, you would give her the wisdom that she needs to lead and give her the grace to juggle all of her responsibilities in life in this season. Father, I thank you for our council, for the many hours they selflessly give to give leadership to our town. I pray that, Lord, you would multiply every hour they give to serve this town, that you would multiply it back into their families. Father, we pray for our town manager, and we pray for all the staff that support him in leading our city to be a city of excellence. We pray for our police chief and our fire chief and all of the firemen and officers that support him. Lord, may you protect them even as they protect us. Father, we pray for our superintendent of education. We pray, God, you'd give him great wisdom and the grace to carry out his manifold responsibilities. We pray for all of the staff that serve under him, for all of our administrators, for all of our teachers and students. We pray that, Lord, you would be pleased to surround our campuses with your great grace so that, Lord, no evil would ever come to one of our campuses. Lord, we pray as we go forward for the business tonight May tonight and at all times the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart be acceptable in your sight. And we pray these things in the name of the great lover of our souls, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you.
Please join me in the pledges of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. We have public comments. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up? Okay. We're going to skip to item 2 so we can talk about our Artsy Kindness Is concert winners. I'd like to thank Nilu from Artsy here in Trophy Club. And would you like to do the honors of announcing your winners?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having us here. Thank you to the City of Trophy Club for all your cooperation in this beautiful art contest. I'm so proud of all the students who participated and all the businesses who participated in and pitching in to award them. We have the winners right here. Without further ado, the first winner is Nathaniel Basuki and Erin Stuckey. We couldn't pick either or, so we split it between two of them in the first
Okay.
category.
Nathaniel and Aaron?
We have Nathaniel and Erin here.
And do we have Megan and Aubrey?
Yes, they all are.
Okay.
And then we have Megan Stuckey and Aubrey Jackson. Should I bring the baskets?
So we have some prizes for you. Put them all together. So did you bring your pieces for everyone to see? Do you want to talk about what you did? About kindness is? What do you think kindness is? What did you make here? It says, be friends together. That's awesome. Okay, how about you? What is yours? I see birds and birdseed.
She's feeding the
Feeding the
birds.
birds. So kindness is be kind to animals, yeah? And how about you? What's yours? Oh, very nice. Holding hands, helping people.
Across the street.
Okay, good. Did we have one more?
Yes.
Yes. This is basically all of the things that I would depict as what represents kindness, and of course there's a lot more. And then in the middle I have a representation of the goddess of kindness and generosity.
Very nice.
Nice.
So I see there the golden rule. You have helpfulness, warmth, acceptance, giving, effort, self-love, equity, and the goddess of kindness. That is truly beautiful. Great job.
And she has a write-up about it behind there, too.
Yes,
She did-
Oh, very nice. Well, we'll make sure we'll post that on our website and Facebook page so everyone can see these wonderful entries from our students. And Ms. Nilu has your baskets, and we
I
just
sure
have
do.
a couple little fun things from the town. A little hat and a pin.
Nice little basket.
There you go, sweetie. You're going to have lots to carry. You might need your mom to help you carry this. But thank you guys for participating in
We'll do
our
a picture with
campaign
this,
for
okay?
Kindness
One
Month. And yeah, we'll grab a picture with Nilu and all your goodies.
We'll do a
Okay.
picture.
Can we kind of come in together there? Well, thank you guys for participating and being so kind this month and year-round. You guys did a great job. Thanks for being here, and I'm so sorry we were late, okay? You guys forgive me. It's kind to forgive, right? That was on purpose. Snowmageddon put us a little bit behind in awarding our Kindnesses contest winners. As you know, February was our Campaign for Kindness Month, and this was part of that, so we thank Nilu for having Art Z participate. Okay, we're going to move up item 4 as well. We have Mrs. Pam Opipari and family members in the audience. We have a proclamation. Which I will read now. Proclamation 2021-05, Town of Trophy Club, Texas. Whereas today we recognize the many accomplishments and dedication of a community leader, husband, father, grandfather, and friend, Lou Opipari, and whereas it is fitting for the Town of Trophy Club to recognize Lou Opipari as he gave wholeheartedly to the profession of fire chief. Lou served as a volunteer fire chief for the Town of Trophy Club beginning in 1989, and in 1998 he became the first paid fire chief for the Town of Trophy Club until 2000, and extraordinary courage to save others. And whereas Lou gave selflessly of his time assisting with the Explorers Program, serving as Grand Marshal at the Trophy Club Parade, serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Charter Review Commission, and elected to the Municipal Utility District Board of Directors, and whereas Lou exhibited extraordinary courage to save others and pass that on to the firefighting staff while serving as an instructor, teaching and training many firefighters, as well as coaching 5-year-olds in soccer, where he was carded and ejected from the game. Ooh. And whereas Lou led a full life of adventure for the time Lou and Pam married on August 29th, 1970, to celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary last year with their daughter Amanda Price, who also lives in Trophy Club, and son Louis Opipari III, who lives in Richardson, and their grandchildren Alex Opipari, Ethan Price, Madeline Price. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Alicia L. Fleury, do hereby resolve that the Town of Trophy Club proclaim March 23rd, 2021 as Lou Opipari Day in Trophy Club, and we ask all students to live life to its fullest with dedication and kindness and further emulate Lou's actions. Let us all observe a moment of silence in the remembrance of Lou Opipari. I do have a proclamation to present to the family. If you'd like to join me at the podium. Mayor.
Please fulfill.
Sure, absolutely. We're honored to have the Opipari family here with us tonight, and we've spoken a lot over the last few weeks. Chief Lou was a big part of TCFD history. He was our first paid fire chief, and he got the ball rolling and started that tradition that we carry on today. And we're very, very proud of that. And we wanted to present something to you that was unique from the fire service, from the fire department, for Chief Lou. So I'm going to read this to you, but the first thing I'd like to say is I began as fire chief March 30th last year. I was here less than 1 week, and I got a phone call. That phone call was with a very interesting man with a great accent and very full of energy. It was Chief Lou. He introduced himself to me, told me who he was. He was the previous chief from years ago. He was the first person in this town not connected with city staff that actually reached out to me and congratulated me, talked to me for 45 minutes. I listened for 45 minutes, but I actually learned some things. I learned some things from him, and I regret the fact that I never had the opportunity to meet him in person, But I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, and I'll never forget it because he made me feel like this was the right place to be. And if he handled his people back then the way he handled me last year, I know that's why they loved and respected him so much. So that's very much appreciated, and thank you for that. I want to present this to the family, especially to you, Pam, to the family of Chief Lou O'Pippery. Chief Lou O'Pippery, Trophy Club Fire Department, 1989 to 2000. Trophy Club Fire Department would like to extend our gratitude to Chief Lou O'Pippery for his effort in making TCFD a better organization. As the first fully paid professional fire chief in our history, Chief Lou's dedication to excellence, commitment to this organization, and the entire community is greatly appreciated. He will always remain an important part of TCFD tradition. God bless Chief Lou and the entire O'Pippery family, awarded March 23rd, 2021, by our entire TCFD team. And this has the fire chief's leather front that we wear on our helmets now, and 680 signifies the fire chief. I'm 680, but he was the first 680, so I wanted him to have this. This was mine, but I want him to have it. So we have this on here. I want y'all to remember that, and just remember how much he means to this organization, to this town, to the volunteership that he had after he was chief, the many organizations he was a part of in this town, and the support that both of you have supplied to this town over the years. We're very fortunate to have your family in our town, and he won't be forgotten. So you're always family with us and always welcome at the firehouse.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Last time I came to the doors, she met me with a knife in her hand. You're actually icing the cake, so I just caught her at the wrong time. She needs everybody to turn around and face this way. Silly little man.
Hey, Alicia, can I say something?
Yes, Councilmember Schaffner would like to speak.
Yeah. I just want to say, Lou was one of my favorite persons. From day one that I got on council, every 4 or 5 months, I would get a call from Lou, and Lou would say, Philip, do you want me to be on this board? I see you're needing volunteers for this board. And I'm like, Lou, you do so much already for this town. You know, I mean, anytime we need anything, we can always call on Lou. And so I always look forward to the call, and I always look forward to, just talking to him. And he had a wealth of history. He volunteered and was willing to volunteer at just the drop of a hat. And he was instrumental in, bridging the gap between the mud and the town, and having the mud actually, let the town take over the day-to-day operations of running the fire department. And so for that, we certainly owe a debt of gratitude to him. But he just was a genuinely great person who, would volunteer for anything. And I really will miss those calls, and I'll miss Lou.
Thank you, Philip. Anyone else like to?
Yes, I would like to say a few words about my friend Lou. We both understood each other, and on occasion, if we disagreed, it was with the utmost respect. And I make a motion.
Yes.
Approve the proclamation.
Yeah, I move to approve the proclamation as read. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Bone has second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay. I think we're finally back up to, we're going to go ahead and skip to accommodate our guests this evening because we are running late for our NISD program tonight. Joining us tonight is Dr. Ryder Warren, I'm sorry. I need to drink some water. I'm a little parched. Who is this man?
Alicia, it's late, we understand.
Please pardon me, it's not like I haven't known you for years. Let's try this again. Joining us tonight is Dr. Ryder Warren, our NISD superintendent, to speak about the upcoming bond election coming up in May. Also joining him is Dr. Lillian Rausch, NISD board member, and Alyssa Edstrom. We all know Alyssa as one of our community relations specialists with the NISD Education Foundation, but she's more famous for being a former Trophy Club resident and student of our schools, and we all know her mom, Susan. As you may have seen on our social media and TC Alerts, staff is busy behind the scenes monitoring both Facebook and YouTube comments live for questions from our residents, and we'll be passing those questions on to myself and council to ask Dr. Warren and his team following his presentation. If a question comes up after his time, our staff will send the questions to them for follow-up. Also, NISD is asking community members to use the form on the bond website if you have any questions that were not answered this evening, and you can find that at nisdtxbond.org/questions. So be sure to look for that web address and ask your questions there. You can also find more information on Yes for Northwest. I know they have a very active Facebook page and community there as well. So without further ado, so sorry for the delay.
Mayor, that's
Dr. Warren,
fine. Council, great to see you. We also have one more surprise guest, Dr. Ron Myers.
That's right, I do see
Our-
Dr.
our
Ron Myers there.
principal of
Principal
Byron
of Byron Nelson High School. Thank you for being here, and thanks for waiting.
Well, folks, you make me wait a little bit. Then you put me on after kids talking about kindness, and then a tribute to Lou. I've got nothing else really for you, so it's great to see you again. Before I talk about the bond, thank you again for last month and with our cheerleaders and with the tribute to the kids. You know, y'all know as leaders, it's been such a weird year, and the stress and the stress the kids have. Y'all taking the time to show appreciation for them and their efforts, and our staff members and what they've done, that was very much appreciated. So thank you very much.
And their signs are up already.
And that's exactly right. All right, if you've not seen this in a while, that's Northwest ISD. That is us. This part of the world, you know, I've spent time in West Texas where there are really, really large school districts, but 235 square miles is a very large school district, especially this part of the world. 8th fastest growing school district in Texas. We're about number one or two, depending on which demographer you talk to, one or two in the Metroplex. Fastest growing district in the state. Of course, 30 campuses this year. We'll have 31 next year with the opening of Berkshire Elementary School off of 287. And then the next two things are just the uniqueness of us. 14 different communities and 3 different counties that we span. So, you know, it's just, again, that's just what makes it special. And as you guys plan, as you build here in Trophy Club and plan for your growth as a district, that last part of the site, and I think I've got, no, I didn't bring you the picture, but that last blip on this slide, we've actually updated it. We're now following 108 different housing developments in the district. We've been at 92 for quite a while, but over the last quarter, we've added about 14 more. So again, and we're just about 27% built out. So this is about a year late for us. We really are on track and have been on track about every 4 years because of the student growth, because of the needs of that. We usually present a bond to our communities. We did so last fall, last spring, for last May of 20, and then of course COVID hit. Just about this time, we were trying to figure out what our world was going to look like, and the governor canceled all May elections last May. So we tried in November, were not successful in November. So our long-range planning committee, they got right back to work, cannot say enough great things about them, and bringing back for this coming May 1st, $745.7 million bond for the May 2021 election cycle. So these are updated numbers. The board, about 2 weeks ago, got the updated demographic report, so these are our most updated numbers. We're expecting north of 27,000 kids this next school year, and we are on track by the end of the decade to be at about 40,000. That's what we've been planning for, and our demographer has done a really good job. He's been working with us for about 15 years and has done a really, really good job for us. As now mandated by law, Texas public school boards no longer have the ability to organize bond elections as they see fit. That was taken away by House Bill 3 this last legislative session, and the legislature now mandates that any school district in the state, 1,100 districts in the state, that we separate bonds into one of 4 categories. The vast majority is for buildings. If you're building for growth, if you're trying to update buildings, if you're adding on to buildings, that is Proposition A. And the vast majority of ours is exactly that. It's growth and it's construction and maintenance on our buildings. Anything you do to a stadium, if it's a stadium alone, that is in Prop B. Prop C is anything that is recreational but not a stadium. One of the projects that we need that we have asked for in this bond is a new middle school number 7. But the track, the fields, the tennis courts, those things are not in Proposition A that will build the middle school 7 building. That is in Proposition C. So that's a separation of projects that this legislature has mandated. And then Proposition D is anything, any device that we purchase for children or for staff. And devices are a big part, especially this time in our lives with remote learning and the things that we've done. Any devices that we purchase must be in Prop D. So that's mandated across the board, and that equals, if you look at all those categories, that equals the $745 million. Okay, so Prop A, and guys, the staff has done a wonderful job. If you really want to dig down deep into this NISDTXbond.org, you can look at every little thing that is going to be proposed in each of these propositions. But Prop A, 6 new schools, 2 new elementary schools, middle school, and then a replacement campus for Hatfield, Seven Hills, and Pike Middle School. Additions to Northwest, just exactly what we did to Byron Nelson during the 2017 bond and what we did to Eaton during the 2017 bond. Same thing for Northwest this bond cycle. Classroom additions to satisfy full-day pre-K, all those things, and then you can see the capital improvements, equity, to make sure that we have, no matter where children live in the district, they all have equitable environments in which to learn in, safety and security, and then our technology infrastructure. I will tell you this, actually Beck Elementary is one of the first campuses in our district to get these new classrooms. I do a great job. Those of you who know me, I do a great job griping about the legislators. At times I can really do that well. But one of the really good things they did last legislative session, they mandated for every Texas school district a mandatory full-day pre-K. And, those of us in the education business, especially those 4-year-olds who qualify for pre-K services, if we can get them in as 4-year-olds, research shows they go a long way to get them on grade level and to get them, everything kind of revolves around the 3rd grade year, that they need to be reading on grade level by the 3rd grade year, and full-day pre-Ks really have shown to do that. So all of our newer campuses are going to have these pre-K buildings, pre-K classrooms built onto them, and then you see the list of classrooms that, if this bond is approved, that we will build on to. And then there's the descriptions of Prop B, C, and D. Prop B is mostly what we call the old Texan Stadium. The old Texan, the smaller stadium over there at the central location, that was built about 70 years ago, and it's become our track facility. Anytime we host track meets, most of our middle schools play games there, and it just, because of the age, it needs some TLC, and then we need some lighting issues at the big stadium in ISD, but the majority of it is the old complex. The middle school recreational facilities, there you see the 5.7 for tennis courts, and all facilities, recreational facilities for the new middle school 7, tennis courts resurfacing, and then new tennis courts for Medlin. Medlin did not, and y'all know, and y'all been very, we've been very appreciative of y'all allowing us us to use those tennis courts of the cities, and but building tennis courts for Medlin is going to be very important to us moving on. And then there's the technology devices for 27,000 kids and 3,000 staff members who need those devices. As with last year, and this is the one that I just do not think I did a great job explaining last year. This can be passed with no tax rate increase. Our growth is at a level, our businesses coming in, the new homes going up, our taxable values, the decisions that our school board has made to refinance us, and the savings on interest that we've done, we can actually pass this bond with zero increase to the INS tax rate. And I've told you before, school districts have two different tax rates. M&O, maintenance and operation, is our day-to-day operations. Mostly it pays for people. It's salaries, it's benefits for our folks. INS, interest and sinking, is what we pay our yearly debt payment. That's our mortgage that we do that. And because of the strength of the values of the district, that will not be affected if it is passed. Whether the bond passes or fails, it will not affect that 42-cent tax rate. That's a history. Those of you who have been here for a while, those of us who own our own homes, own our own businesses, that's our history of tax rates. Down there at the bottom is our M&O. What it's been for years for our daily operations, and then the INS is in the gray, and then at the top, that's the total. You will see after the 2018 school year that our tax rate started going down. That was for two reasons. Number one, the board voted, again, because of the strength of our values, we're actually able to pay our mortgage payment, our bond payment, even with 3 pennies less than what we had. So the board lowered the INS tax rate from 45 to 42, and then by mandate on House Bill 3, it compressed our M&O tax rate. So we've gone from $1.04 down to 97 to 91 cents this year. Okay? So those are the four, you will see when you go to vote, those are the four propositions. We'll vote 4 times. One thing that we will need to be very cognizant of is, and this is the kicker that we really try to explain, because of the new rule, because of the new law, there will be a disclaimer at the end of each proposition that this is a property tax increase. So that is mandated. That's mandated language for all ballots, for all Texas school districts, for all ballots. That's mandated on there. What we're trying to explain is, yes, we're going to take on debt. If this is approved, we will take on debt, but we won't be raising the tax rate on this, and that's why people got very confused last time, saying, they heard me say on Facebook Live there would be no tax rate increase, but they're seeing at the ballot this would be a property tax increase, and they didn't understand the difference. So I want to make sure that is required language now from House Bill 3 this last legislative session. But again, because of our strength, our financial strength, we won't have to raise that tax rate, and that explains it right there. So if we're telling anybody new to our communities, they have until April the 1st to be registered. Early voting starts the 19th, and then Saturday, May 1st, is Election Day, and we really do. The crew have done a great job with this website and all things bond on there. For each city council that I'm going to, for the 14 different communities, we always modify this and to make sure you understand exactly the schools that are in your purview and your leadership areas, what we're doing. So Beck, Lakeview, Medlin, and Byron. Like I said, not a lot at Byron because we spent a lot of money on Byron this last bond, but just from the safety and security point and things like that, be able to do that. So, Mayor, Council, as always, I really do appreciate you allowing me just a brief time to talk about this. And Mayor, I will take any questions that come up. If I know the answer, great. If I don't, I'll find out.
Well, I'm sure you, our lovely guests, have answers for us, and we are having emails and Facebook questions already.
Good.
We do have an email question asking, how is STEM education emphasized in bond funds?
Oh, that's a great question. And Ron's building is a great example of how we did this. This last bond cycle, you guys know that we expanded Byron Nelson to a 3,200 student school. And in the areas that we did that, we have a new area for our biomedical program, for our culinary program, the architectural and engineering program. There's the work that is supposed to be done at Northwest is approved. The STEM Academy, and Mayor, you know this, but all of 4 of our high schools have career and technology
Yes.
academies, and many of them are STEM-oriented. We have, of course, we have a business academy, and then we have an aviation academy
Of
at,
course, I'm partial to that one over at
I know you are,
Eaton.
at Eaton, and then, of course, at Northwest, we have the video arts, and we have the true STEM Academy, and then here at Byron, we have the culinary and biomedical, but we also have many different, at least 10 different engineering pathways at each of the high schools. You know, we call ourselves an open enrollment high school because it doesn't matter where kids put their heads at night, they can go anywhere they want to in Northwest to be a part of those academies. If they don't want to leave their home campus, if they want to be around the kids they've grown up with, we also have career pathways. We have over almost 25 to 27 career pathways in career and technology. Many of them are STEM pathways to be able to do that. So the money that we're spending this last bond cycle and this bond request will be updating those areas. And just, again, we do a lot of surveying to kids. And in fact, we're even driving down STEM opportunities even into the middle schools, so that even at kids that are 11 and 12-year-olds can start getting immersed in STEM and career and tech. Great
Very
question.
good. Did anyone else get any
I have
questions? there?
several questions here that have come in.
Okay.
All right, first one is, with the recent public scrutiny on disparity between men's and women's college sports,
Yep.
what % of our district's athletic budget is allocated to women's and men's sports individually?
Total allocation of a $250 million total M&O budget, I would say our total athletic budget is probably 1.8%. So out of $255 million budget, probably about $3 to $4 million is athletics. And we don't distinguish between girls and boys athletics. They pretty much have the same, boys basketball, girls basketball have the exact same budget. Track teams, baseball, softball, facilities we design our locker rooms, our meeting rooms, our weight rooms the same. So I mean, I know what they're talking about. They're talking about NCAA and how horrible the girls areas were and as compared to the boys. And we're very pragmatic about that, making sure that we have equity across that. So that's very important to us. That's a very good question.
I think you answered the second one. The second one was breakdown of square footage allocated men's and women's individually.
Yeah,
So,
everything is exactly the same across all campuses.
Anyone else? Any questions in?
Yeah, I've got let's see, this is a Facebook question. It says, rumors the district threatens to do away with programs if bonds fail. Do we get a say on what goes and what stays?
Wow, that's a good one. And that really, Sean, that really goes back to the challenge we had for the November election.
I think, I'm going to interrupt you on this because Alyssa answered this question so well for me, for a layperson who really doesn't understand a lot of this stuff. And I know we would love to hear.
Let me pause.
And
Alyssa, come
sorry.
here, please.
Thank you. I'm giving you a little break because I know you have been on the hot seat for this for so long, and I'm going to, if you don't mind, we'd love to hear from.
She
explained it so well to me. I thought, oh, this would be a great question for her.
So can you repeat really quickly? I want to make sure I answer the exact question.
Yeah, let me clarify. This is not my question.
No, you're okay.
It says, rumors the district threatens to do away with programs if bond fails. Do we get a say on what goes and what stays?
Yes, so in terms of the programs that we're doing, that is not going to be impacted by the bond. So in November, we had 2 elections. So Propositions A through D were your bond. Proposition E was the VATRE. That VATRE would impact your M&O tax budget. That's your daily operations, your programs, everything like that. Your bonds are not going to affect those programs. You can't use bond money to pay for teacher salaries, programs, anything in that wheelhouse. So when we go, I believe that the plans are in November the district would bring forward another tax election for the maintenance and operation. But in terms of any programs that we're doing for students, they're not going to be impacted by this INS tax rate. So they're both two different buckets.
So then anyone that's concerned about it, any other rumors about music teachers or fine arts going away because a bond failed, shouldn't have that concern?
Correct, yes. So the bond is not going to impact those things. As Dr. Warren mentioned, House Bill 3 compressed the tax rate for the maintenance and operation, which is where we're seeing a lot of the deficit and budget that the district is facing. So in November, there will be an opportunity to vote on that portion of the tax rate. But the INS tax rate for this bond will not impact any of those programs.
How'd she do, Dr. Warren? Anything to add?
Stay right there.
Anything you'd like to add, sir?
Stay right there.
I can do that.
Another question?
I have one more.
Go ahead.
How come I'm getting all the questions?
I have another one, but I'll wait for you.
This one says, will this be the last bond package we see? If you get the money, will another bond come in a couple of years, followed by another and another and another?
That's a
your
great,
crystal ball out.
the answer is yes. We rolled about $240 million off this ask. You know, last May when I came to this council and explained to you last May's, it was about $986 million. The committee at the time actually talked about exactly what you're talking about. They wanted to give the taxpayers a little bit of a break because we're like clockwork. We're either 3 or 4 years because of our student growth. We're consistently expanding space to deal with kids that are coming in and the kids that are there. Again, because of the failure in November, we did feel, the committee really felt strongly we need to roll some things off and come up with a lower number. It's still a good number, the 745, but COVID, nothing in our world right now is stopping our student growth. We're flattered by that because more families are trying to come in. More families want to come to Trophy Club. More families want to come into the district in general. So we're flattered by that, but it does mandate us to try to make sure our buildings are as efficient as possible. In between bond elections, we always move around attendance lines and move families around, which a family moves in and especially elementaries, choose an elementary school they want their kids to go to, and then the stinking superintendent moves the line. But that's what we have to do to make sure that our buildings are efficient. But in the times to make space, the bond process is the only mechanism we have that the state gives us to produce funds of that magnitude to build or to add on to schools.
And that is the important thing. Building and adding on to existing schools, building new schools.
Right.
Because you got to get that money from someplace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we don't have it in our, we do have a fund balance, just like I'm sure you all do too, and those are for the rainy day funds, but nothing compared to what is needed for campuses.
Did anyone else get any more questions, Sean?
No, that was it for me.
You didn't get any?
No.
No more for you? I just have one last question came in via Facebook. If more families are moving to NISD, won't that bring more money to the district?
That is a wonderful question. All right, and this is, you want to take this one? All right, this is Texas School Finance 101. And it's a yes on this side and a no on this side. On our INS side, on the bonding side, we are given credit for the kids coming in, the growth that we're having, the tax base is rising. That's why we're able to fund $745 million without a tax rate increase. The state gives us credit for value growth on this side. On the M&O side, on the everyday expenditures side of the district, we do not get credit. Y'all paid attention to this during the last legislative session about the tax caps, the value caps that the state was going to come in. We have a 2.5 cap, growth cap on the M&O side. We can only gain the 2.5. Everything else is recaptured by the state. That's, as Alyssa did a great job explaining to you, that's why we're having to make some very difficult decisions about our M&O budget, because we have lost revenue on that side because we don't get that value growth on the M&O side, on the operational budget of what we do. They give it to us on the INS, which is good. I mean, we are able to at least ask permission to sell these bonds with no tax rate increase, which is good for us for fast growth districts. That's good. But on the other side of that, the decisions they made on the finance side of House Bill 3 really did put us in a really tough situation of making really tough decisions about programs, about staffing, to put together the balanced budget that Lillian and the other 6 board members expect us to bring to them every year.
The only thing I would add too is I think it's important, what Dr. Warren said, we have to go to our community and ask to have these bonds. The district can't just wake up one morning and take out bonds for whatever buildings they want. So they have to have permission from the community to do so. So that's one piece of how we move forward with that.
So Alyssa, is there another question that you get repeatedly that you think people would like to hear the answer to? And I'm going to ask Dr. Roush to come up and I'm going to ask her the same question. So you can have a minute to think about it.
Spot there. I mean, I really think the 2 buckets is probably the biggest question that we get. The only other thing that I've heard is about our stadiums. So I will just say, as someone who grew up in this district, Texan Stadium, like Dr. Warren said, is the oldest. If you've been here for a while, you know that that parking lot that used to be there was where the Pee Wee cheerleaders and the Pee Wee football practiced. So, I mean, that facility hasn't changed at all. So I think there is some confusion about the football stadium versus track and field, because most people who've been here a while are used to that being a facility. So looking at the differences between those 2 will be important for that specific proposition, so Prop B.
Great, thank you. Dr. Roush? Whatever you're comfortable with.
There was a lot of confusion about the money in the stadium. They thought it was going to the big Texas stadium and not to the old stadium that is in disrepair. And the other thing is, how is the taxes not going to affect us, property tax-wise? And I thought our CFO did a great job today. He said you have a fixed tax rate for sales tax. If you go to Walmart, you spend $100, you have 1 sales tax. If you go to Walmart and you spend $300, it's the same tax rate, but you're going to be paying more. The reason you're paying more is because your value in your houses are going up. Excuse me. And one of the reasons they're going up is because people want to move here because we have a great school district. And if you've ever spoken to anybody who is moving from some place where the school district isn't so great, they don't have the property values going up like we do, they don't have the appreciation, and they don't have the great schools. So,
Thank you. Dr. Myers, how about you? I'm sure you've done a lot of these Facebook Lives as well. Is there a question that you've come across quite a bit that you'd like to share?
I think, just hearing from the big picture from the central office, from Dr. Warren's direct overview provides a good sense of what's happening in our district at the practical level. I think that what we see a lot of uses are those smaller stadiums every day. There's kids playing soccer, they're running track, you go by Byron Nelson every day. That's where you get a lot of use. And so I do appreciate the clarification. You think this big stadium, and that's a necessary piece of who we are. But the practical aspects of what we do on a daily basis are these fields that you're seeing that provide good resources for students. And so I would hope that the community understands the practical implications of providing those resources for our kids on a daily basis, not just a one-time event.
Great. And Dr. Warren, may I share something that you shared at our Rotary meeting?
Please.
About, you had mentioned that the board is looking into allowing some community use of maybe our middle school athletic outdoor facilities, such as tracks to walk on, things like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
As we have been so glad to be presenting these kind of things, and the whole world of COVID and everything like that, the one question has been coming up that we're actually making a plan for right now. We've got 6 middle schools right now opening our athletic facilities, our tracks, our fields, our tennis courts to those communities around that. Well, really for anybody who wants to go there, we think will be a very positive thing for our folks. After hours, we'll kick them off when it's time for the kids to be on there. But during after hours, things like that, Tim McClure is working on a plan right now to do that. I think
that's wonderful news. That has been a huge topic of conversation in our community, and so I hope everyone heard this or will come back and see it and hear about it, and they'll want to come back and rewatch this moment right now. that the NISD School Board has already opened up some middle school outdoor athletic facilities for community use, and that is great. You guys listened, and I'm sure that's greatly appreciated, and people are going to be very excited to hear that, for sure. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us, or any other questions you think that people would like to hear an answer to that have come up quite a bit in this bond election? Any council members have any additional questions? Anyone in the audience?
Hey, Alicia.
Yes, Philip, you're still here, sorry.
I don't have a question. I don't get to do this very often because I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you and your staff and all the teachers and administrators did during COVID, especially with Lillian being in the audience. I don't think there was a second that I ever envied, being on the school board. I mean, you had to make some tough decisions, and you had, I'm sure, people on both sides just bending your ear and trying to get you to do one way or do the other. But I just want to say on behalf of myself, who has twins at Medlin, I thought that everything went really well. They, we know people that decided to do the internet learning, and we had, we knew a lot of people that did the classroom learning. We chose to do the classroom learning, and I think the communication was excellent. Anytime that there was a tier 1, tier 2, or case, that involved someone at Medlin, we immediately received an email, and so the communication was impeccable, and I always felt my kids were well taken care of and were very safe. And so, and I'm sitting in a city right now in Pueblo, Colorado, that has been on again, off again, on again. I mean, the port, as probably don't know which side's up and which side's down. And so I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate, I know it's been incredibly tough on especially the school district, and so I just want to say thank you publicly.
Thank you for that.
To you and all your staff.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Mayor, Council, the last thing I'll leave with you with, totally unbond related. This next week, we're going to start working with a group of teachers, of school staff members, of PTA parents, leadership, and we're going to start working on our legislators. We have a list of priorities that we would like to get done this legislative session. It's a weird session, just like everything else in the world is, but we're going to start doing a lot of communicating with we have 8 different state leaders in the district. If there's anything, as I communicate with them, and I'm making this commitment to each of our communities, is that if there's anything that I can support you on, we can support you on. I think the best thing that we could all do is just work together, especially when we talk about the legislature. If there's anything that you'd like me to bring up to them to support you on, just send that to me, and we will absolutely include that in our correspondence.
Well, again, I apologize for being late, but I did bump you up, so I think we kind of evened that out, and that was not on purpose.
No,
And,
you're fine. We
and I know I
appreciate that.
probably owe you lunch or dinner or something.
I'll
so-
take the lunch.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ever think about that.
Right?
y'all.
But we do appreciate your time and all your efforts, and I know this has been a very hard year, and you've done it. I mean, you've stood there and you've taken it, and I know it hasn't been easy for any of you, for any of our staff, teachers, admin, our students, parents. It's been hard on everyone, and I know your heart's in the right place, and you just want to do what's best for our kids, and you're never going to make everyone happy all the time. You just need to do the best you can. And I hope everyone gets educated about the bond. However you're going to vote, just go vote, have your voice. Can't complain about it if you don't vote. And go to the website to learn more. I believe it's www.nisdtxbond.org. Get all your questions answered. Also check out Yes for Northwest, I believe is the group. I think it's Yes, the number 4 Northwest. And educate yourself and learn about it, because I know it's very confusing with, is there a tax increase, is there not a tax increase? So, and reach out to our community members. I know Darren Davis, everyone knows him very well. He's very well versed in it. Of course, Dr. Roush and Alyssa Edstrom are other Trophy Club involved in our community that can answer your questions. And learn more about it, and so you can make an educated decision when you do get out there and vote, and we do want you out there to vote at this next election. So thank you again for all of you being here and answering our questions and participating. And once again, I am very sorry. Lunch is on me for you guys, okay? You can hold me to it. But have a great evening, and thank you once again for being here.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to try to get back on track here and get back up to item number one with announcements and reports. Update regarding property land across from Trophy, the Freedom Dog Park. So, is that what?
Yes.
From Town Manager Norwood.
Most of you should remember about 8 months ago, developer Scorberg came forward with a single-family home development next to Churchill Downs across from Freedom Dog Park and adjacent to Abbey Moore. That was denied by Planning and Zoning and City Council. When that is denied like that, that is done with prejudice. So the developer has approached me, met with me, and said they'd be willing to go to minimum of 10,000 square foot lots on all properties. I said, well, the zoning is R15. And said, well, that's not market. Well, I said, the zoning is R15. And so you can't make application now anyway. And the request was, well, could I make application in May? And then by the time it gets to council, it'll be roughly July, which would be the 1 year mark. And that's not allowed. The 1 year begins, in order for them to make application, would have to be completed the full year. So that would be sometime in July, I believe. So that's where we stand. He has not responded back or made any other overtures about that. So that's all we know from this standpoint. And I fully expect that come midsummer, he'll be back making application again. So that's the latest.
Okay, well, you can just keep us abreast of that situation, and we'll move on to item 3. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to clarify something, because I've had a few citizens reach out and ask if a new proposal had been submitted to P&Z or Town Council, and I just wanted to make sure it's clear, there's been no new proposal, no changes have been submitted, nothing's been given by the developer since the presentation in July last year.
You are correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry I missed your, get back to using the old way. Apologize. Philip, I don't want to forget about you. Anything? Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right, on to item 3, recognition from the Arbor Day Foundation designating Trophy Club as a 2020 Tree City USA community. And we're going to hear from Town Manager Norwood and Director Tony Yaramillo. Did I say it right?
Will Tony come forward? And this is a nice honor for the Town and Trophy Club. And I think it's indicative of the work that Tony and his staff have done, and obviously it hasn't gone unnoticed.
Right.
Thank you. Mayor, Council, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Arbor Day is a program that I'm completely proud of, one that I'm proud of with of our team as well. Without them, this couldn't be done or accomplished. They put a lot of effort and time into the planting of the trees, making sure they're in good health, trimming. They provide the appropriate shade at our parks. They also make sure that they're not low enough to hit folks in the head while they're walking by. So they do a lot of good work out there, and that's one that I'm completely proud of. So the proclamation that we will be discussing here in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to combine items 3
Okay.
and 5.
Fantastic, fantastic. So being that we are applying for the proclamation, which is one of the requirements from our Arbor Day Foundation, it benefits us, or the town, as it brings forth a lot of educational purpose, especially over for our younger generations, right? So that's one of the benefits, and I want to congratulate the town, as this is the 17th year being Tree City, being recognized as Tree City. Again, like I was stating earlier, we couldn't do it without our staff. They work so hard, and they ensure that we meet the requirements established by the Arbor Day Foundation. So one of the reasons that we're extremely proud and most popular that are talked about in the Parks and Rec industry is the benefit of being able to provide educational services or classes at our parks for the younger generation. So if anyone wants to ever see a really neat tree, one of the oldest in town, there is a 50-plus-year-old mesquite tree at Freedom Dog Park on the large dog side, and many, many trees out there that you want to explore through our nature trails. Visit Trophy Club Park, just east of Freedom Dog Park. Sorry, I have to plug in that park. There's a lot of folks that still don't know about the park out there. So Trophy Club Park's located at 2885 Trophy Park Drive. So a lot of good trees out there to explore nature trails as well. So with that, that concludes my presentation.
How's our tree doing that we planted a few years ago on Arbor Day out there in the park?
At the park, we transplanted actually over to the median over by.
Oh, you moved the tree?
We moved the tree, yes. We moved the
Okay.
tree, but it's still alive.
All right,
It's still alive.
that's
It's on the
good to
median. So,
Well, we'll go on, we'll move on to the proclamation then, if you don't mind staying
ma'am.
there.
Absolutely.
Proclamation 2021-06, Town of Trophy Club, Texas. A proclamation of the Town of Trophy Club Town Council proclaiming April 24th, 2021 as Arbor Day, recognizing that the year 2021 marks the 149th anniversary of Arbor Day. Whereas in 1972, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas the day set aside is called Arbor Day, first being observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas 2021 marks the 149th anniversary of Arbor Day and is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource providing paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, provide shade and beauty to our community, and whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal wherever they are planted. Now therefore I, Mayor Alicia Fleury, in conjunction with the Trophy Club Town Council, do hereby proclaim April 24, 2021 as Arbor Day in Trophy Club, Texas, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands by planting more trees to promote the well-being of our generation and future generations. I move to approve as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Monger. All in favor? All unanimous, motion carries. And Tony, I'm going to bring you 2 certificates, one for our 2021 designation as a Tree City USA community, and one for the proclamation for Arbor Day. And I just want to thank you and your staff for taking care of us and getting us here every year, our 17th year. And how many years have you been here?
15.
15. There you go. Correlation there, probably.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. You guys do a great job all year round, and our parks are just maintained, and all you do, I just can't say enough to thank you. And these are 2 really big honors for you to get for us. So
Thank you.
So you have a whole wall of Oh, wait, these go together. Wait, what's our? Tree City?
Gee, thanks.
We got lots of stuff. All right, we're ready now. You ready? I got a picture on the rest of them. Oh, that's great. Great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Here, number 6, consent agenda. Okay, we're on to the consent agenda. All matters listed in our consent agenda are considered routine by the town council, will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be held. Items removed from the consent agenda will be considered individually. So is there a motion to approve items 6 and 7 under consent?
Motion to approve consent agenda items 6 and 7.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Bone and a second by Councilmember Monger. Any discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous, motion carries. All right, we did number 8.
We did that.
That was the
artsy.
Yeah, wake up.
Okay, we are on to item number 9. It is 8:45 PM, and I hereby declare the public hearing open for case SUP-21-001, Wingstop alcohol sales for on-premise consumption in conjunction with a restaurant use generally located approximately 150 feet east of Trophy Club Drive and approximately 275 feet north of State Highway 114. Madam Secretary, did anyone enter to speak? Okay, being that there's no one to address the council, the public hearing.
You got to close it.
Okay, no one here to speak regarding this public hearing. It's closed at, we'll just call it 8:46 PM. Okay, I hereby declare the public hearing closed as there is no action necessary for item 9A. Item 9B is the action item and recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval of the special use permit. Is there a motion to approve the SUP?
I would like to make a motion to approve SUP 21-001 for alcohol beverage sales for on-premise consumption by Wingstop, generally located approximately 410 feet east of Trophy Club Drive and approximately 215 feet north of SH 114.
Do you have a second? Second. Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lamont and a second by Councilmember Bone. Any discussion?
Modification, you read the dimensions for the blue 22 rather than Wingstop.
275 feet. Right.
250 feet east of Trophy Club Drive and 275 feet north of State
Okay, I
Highway
did that the
114.
last time, too. Good catch.
Okay, this is for SCP 21-01 Wingstop alcohol sales, correct?
Correct.
And did you,
Hey, so wait,
Yes, sir.
if we approve this, that means that they can sell alcohol?
That's correct. Wingstop is requesting approval for that SUP.
As Garrett Reed would say, then I'm all for it.
yeah. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous, motion carries. So, item 10 is 8:47 PM. I declare the public hearing open for case SUP-21-002, Blue 22 alcohol sales for on-premise consumption in conjunction with a restaurant use generally located approximately 410 feet east of Trophy Club Drive and approximately 215 feet north of State Highway 114. Madam Secretary, did anyone register to speak at this public hearing? No, ma'am. Okay, being that no one is here to address council, I hereby declare the public hearing closed, as there is no action necessary for item 10A at 8:48 PM. Now we are on to item 10B, is the action item and recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval of the special use permit. Is there a motion to approve the SUP?
Motion to approve item 10B.
That's it?
Okay,
Second.
okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Bone and a second from Councilmember Munger. Any discussion?
Just so you know, the town manager can change that.
Any
Not that he
discussion?
would.
Okay, all in favor? More alcohol, Philip, there you go. All right, it's unanimous. Motion carries. Now, we are on to item 11, take appropriate action regarding the acceptance of the audit for the Town of Trophy Club fiscal year 2020 audit. I'd like to recognize Mayor Pro Tem Lamont.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 audit for the Town of Trophy Club, which the Council Budget Subcommittee reviewed positively.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, you have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lamont and a second by Councilmember Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous, motion carries. Thank you so much for waiting it out. Sorry you didn't get to speak, but you're... Sorry, I'll take you to lunch too. Sorry. Okay, item 12, update of municipal utility district and town subcommittee meeting. And Councilmember Wilson and I attended that. And I'm going to recognize Councilmember Wilson. Would you like to give us a update on that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. We spent the last couple of months working with the MUD to come up with a way to deal with the fire protection services. Please keep in mind, everyone, thank you,
Yeah.
that this is related to fire protection services only. This is not related to water, wastewater. It's only limited to fire protection services. We really discussed two options. The first option was to allow the town to assume 100% of the fire operations funding, while the district continued to fund INS, so that's the debt. The advantage to that is that the contributions from the entire district, including Westlake, is still being included, and the town is not assuming that additional revenue that would come from Westlake. That would consist of, so then the result of that would be, if we were to assume that option, the town would collect tax for the fire M&O, and the district would still collect the tax for the INS, which is the interest in sinking. The PID assessment would be reduced for the amount of the fire O&M. And roughly, the PID assessment this year was $510,000. That would go down to $77,000 this year. It will go down to $77,000. The following year, it would go down to $44,000. So you're looking at an 85% reduction in the PID assessment if we were to assume option number one. The second thing, just out of clarity, the PID surcharge would still continue to be charged because that's primarily the 2014 bond, which is the wastewater treatment plant, and there are some other pieces related to non-departmental costs. The fire station and property would remain the property of the district until the debt is paid off, because remember, the town would only assume the operations and not the INS. And then the town would assume asset responsibility, so facilities, O&M, vehicles, maintenance, vehicles, equipment, etc. This is the first option. So again, it's the town assuming all the M&O, so all operations, personnel, all of their costs, the town would tax for, and the MUD would only tax for the INS. Is this clear? Are there any questions related to this?
Explain to me, you're saying a reduction in the PID by $500,000?
The PID assessment would go from $510,000 down to $77,000, which is about an 85% reduction.
And who's picking up that loss in revenue?
The town would have to pick that up on our side to recapture it. Because now, before, we split the maintenance and operations 50-50 with the MUD. Now we would be assuming 100%, so we would have to increase our taxes to pay that amount. So it would go down on their side, we'd have to raise ours on this side.
Across the board, all taxpayers, or just the PID taxpayers?
Just, say again?
Just properties there.
Yes, just properties in the PID. So it should net out to be zero, ideally.
So the debt would stay in service, continue to
Correct.
stay in service?
They would still continue to collect the debt as they're doing now,
And Westlake would still pay?
and Westlake would still pay.
Okay.
Councilor Schopper?
We would be required to pay, or we would be required to raise it a little bit more because the MUD can tax those over 65, whereas the town cannot, correct?
Well, one of the questions that was raised was because this would be a new service, I'll let,
It's not really addressing the new service. I think he's saying that the MUD has the right to tax over 65, where we do not. The MUD doesn't have the freeze where we do, so it may create a need
Yeah,
for
there's a
tax.
possibility
Is that
that
correct, Councilman Schopper?
Yeah. Repeat that again, one more time, what did you say, David?
You're concerned that we're under a freeze for property owners 65 and over, but the MUD is not. And you're asking if that would require us to raise taxes or a rate or
Yeah.
revenue?
Yeah, exactly. On the PID side, there would be not a equal to equal like it is now. So there would be, I'm sure, I don't know what the percentage is in the PID as far as those over 65, but there would be something that we have to make up, an additional, money there.
Potentially, yes. Well, if there's, to the extent that there are over 65 residents where we can't get the revenue, then the under 65 would have to pick up that additional cost.
Correct, but what I'm saying is, it's not equal. In other words, what the PID is paying now and what the PID will pay will be lower. You know what I'm saying? So you have 65. So those that are in the MUD that are under 65 would be subsidizing those in the PID.
Correct. I see what you're saying now, because you have to charge the same rate of profit. Correct. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
To recognize-
I just wanted to clear that part up. Go ahead.
Okay, recognize Mayor Pro Tem Lamont.
Yeah, we were going to do a workshop on this to begin with, and I would think that we'd be better off with a workshop on this. Otherwise, you got 65, you got a whole bunch of people paying attention to this. We should do it in a workshop so we can have it all spelled out for us.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, thank you for the update, Councilmember Wilson. Okay, I rechecked the agenda. I believe we got through everything. Okay. I appreciate everybody's patience. So sorry we're running late, but still out here pretty early, all considering. So, I also have to plug, one quick plug. Am I allowed to do that? For something's cool.
You're out of order.
Byron Nelson High School Taste and Talent starts March 25th through the 31st, so get your tickets online. It's supporting local businesses and our students, our senior scholarships, and our programs. And we have 4 of our Trophy Club restaurants participating, so that has to do with our town, so I think I can talk about that and kids in our school. And I also was able to go to Pastaza today in the Tom Thumb Shopping Center, and it was fabulous, so go check them out as well and welcome them to our town. So we are going to adjourn at 8:57 p.m. Thank you.